Zits, pics or tits, pics or slits. Huh. Ooh. Hey everybody, hi. Welcome to Faux Pods with Lola, that's me. Thanks for being here. If it's your first time, if you're coming back, thanks for coming back, and it's good to see ya. A couple things. On Netflix, they've produced a rom-com. Stars Victoria Justice, who I always liked. I think she got done dirty. For some reason, Ariana Grande ended up being the breakout star of her show. I think I know why, but anyway, I think she's really talented, gorgeous. They have a rom-com starring her on Netflix, and her character's name is Lola. Every time there is a character named Lola, like I think Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Lindsay Lohan's character name was Lola. It's fun because if I ever watch it, then I just react to the dialogue like they're talking to me. It's really funny. Kind of Mystery Science Theater. And also, I tried that trick where you use developer and baking soda to lighten your hair. I don't know if you can see it, like, it's definitely lighter. I would say it works best on freshly dyed hair. The stuff that I've dyed that's been dyed and kind of re-dyed, didn't really touch it too much. It's a little lighter. But so for anybody who's going to try that, because it's summertime and all the bitches want to make their hair lighter. If it's a little janky, it's a work in progress. So today, we're going to talk about the soundtracks that have changed my life. For real, that's not just hyperbole. You remember hyperbole? From like high school, whatever the fuck, hyperbole? Like an exaggeration for dramatic effect. They actually changed my life. They tipped me on a course that I wasn't on already, musically, with an artist in particular. Hopefully, it's a little bit of nostalgia because of the movies, where you were when they came out, or if you haven't seen them yet, maybe it'll be a good resource for you. Maybe you'll enjoy it like I did, the movies and the soundtracks. Excited to divulge that information. Back before the interwebs, it was a lot harder to track down things that you like, happen to catch wind of or see, you know, on a TV show or whatever. Every movie is I would watch to the very end, and that's where all of the music is listed. And then I would write those down, and then I'd try to go hunt down the artist. Again, without the internet, it was a lot of Sam Goody or Hastings or record stores, you know, whatever. Sometimes it was unsuccessful. Sometimes I did find the artist, but I really only wanted the one song that was on the soundtrack. And sometimes it's just specifically for the soundtrack. Back then, after the days of the music store, then came LimeWire or BearShare or any offshoot of Napster that after the lawsuit, if you guys don't know, back in the day, Napster was one of the groundbreaking music websites where you could just find any music and just download any of the music that you wanted. And they got into a lawsuit with the Metallica, I believe, saying, hey, this is our music, you can't just steal it. So then it went to music sharing. I don't know how big of a difference that is, but you know, you're sharing files with a lot of anonymous people, so for free you could find tons of songs you wanted and also a shitload of viruses. Happened to me several times, but free music, you know, like whatever. I don't condone pirating anything. I'm just saying that was like the international waters days of the internet where everything was just kind of new and people were just like experimenting, seeing what they could get away with. Trial and error phase, I think. Some of it stuck and some of it didn't. Anyway, so that was another way I found artists and songs from soundtracks. Now we have Spotify and Apple Music and like all that shit. So what sucks is that when I amassed all of those CDs, all of those soundtracks, I condensed them all when I moved to California. So I took all of my favorites from all of the CDs that I had, and I had a big collection. The first week that I had moved to California, someone broke into my car, a big CD case, you know, full of CDs that we all used to carry around, and they stole all my music. I felt violated and I felt scandalized. It's a personal thing. It's like very deep in my soul. Over the years, found them again here and there. At least I remembered the artists. That brings me to my list. I have so many on this list. I'm going to try and keep it down to the most impactful ones that really hit me and changed the course of my music taste or just opened me up to a whole new area that I didn't even realize. Playlists are the modern day soundtracks, right? They're, you know, we don't do mixed CDs anymore, which I miss. It was a lost art of like a mixtape or a mix CD. The person that you're giving it to, it shows them that you know them at their core and you respond to that with the core of yourself. Music is one of the most succinct ways of conveying that to another person, I would say. If you put on a song and you both just vibe out to it, it says a lot about your compatibility as human beings, I think. A playlist or a soundtrack or a CD or whatever, it's a deep thing. It's a serious thing. My first experience with soundtracks was the Harold and Maude soundtrack. Harold and Maude came out in, I believe, 1967, I want to say. A huge cult classic, stars Ruth Gordon and Bud Cort. The love story of someone in her 80s and someone in his 20s and just how they are kindred spirits. The music was performed by Cat Stevens. Wild World, Peace Train, he's done a lot of, Google Cat Stevens, he's amazing. The song Trouble off of the Harold and Maude soundtrack, I had the VHS tape of Harold and Maude. I rewound that, I probably almost broke it over and over and over again. It's just a powerful song. If you've ever felt like you didn't understand why something horrible was happening to you, and that's everybody, you can definitely relate to that song. I highly recommend it. I, of course, will be linking all of the soundtracks I mentioned, the artists and or songs that are my favorite of those in the old description box. Be sure to check them out. It's good stuff. And it's a wide array. The next 3 or 4 are kind of interchangeable between teen years, so like 11 through probably 15 or 16. All of the soundtracks that happened around that time, just gaskets shot out of my mind. One of the first stops in that little area is the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack. The William Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet soundtrack. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes and directed by Baz Luhrmann. Moulin Rouge is probably what you know Baz Luhrmann for, mostly if you haven't seen Romeo plus Juliet. That soundtrack not only encapsulates a lot of different genres, it introduced the angsty rock area of my life. I already really fall in love with Oasis, Radiohead, Smashing Pumpkins. Another step in that direction, but it also had fun poppy club songs, a cappella songs. That movie itself does the best job of capturing what Romeo and Juliet must have felt. At the same time, they're portrayed as a lot older. In the actual play, Romeo and Juliet were 13 and 14. Tremendous movie. Highly recommend it. Next one is the Trainspotting soundtrack. Trainspotting came out, I believe, in 93, 94, directed by Danny Boyle. Stars Ewan McGregor, Johnny Lee Miller. The story of a heroin addict and his heroin addict friends. What that does to his life and how it just completely thrashes his life this way and that way. But it also has one of the most amazing soundtracks that ever was made. I think it does an amazing job of capturing the sadness, all of the joy, all of the, ecstasy, all of the confusion, kind of a sexy, seedy vibe. And it exposed me to Lou Reed, artists like Underworld. I didn't really know Lou Reed or Iggy Pop. I didn't really know New World Order. That movie will really open your eyes to the dangers of heroin, I would say. It's just really life affirming. It's a good movie, check it out. And then there's the Great Expectations soundtrack. It's Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow in her absolute heyday. That one is big because it introduced me to one of my all-time favorite artists, who is David Garza. He wrote a song called Slave that is featured again on repeat. Just on repeat it again, keep repeating it. That song particularly came from an album called This Euphoria. He's an amazing artist. I love him. I'm so grateful to that soundtrack. I don't really remember the movie much besides Gwyneth Paltrow being really hot, but that soundtrack was major for me. Then Interview with the Vampire. I gotta talk about that a little bit because the musical score is so powerful and so emotive and so evocative. That movie was a repeater movie. Brad Pitt was slathered on my walls. It wasn't because he was so hot like that. He's awe-inspiringly good looking, but it was that he was vulnerable. He's a really good actor and he seemed to be very philosophical. He didn't stay in the hot dude genre. Thelma and Louise is pretty much the only time that he plays on his awe-inspiring Adonis good looks to get him anywhere. So Interview with the Vampire was huge. Tom Cruise being Lestat, Antonio Banderas being Armand, and then you have Brad Pitt being Louis. The three of them haunted my dreams. I was obsessed. And then I got the soundtrack, or my brother did, one of the two. If you ever just want to like cry for a while or feel kind of dark and gothic and emo, like that's the soundtrack to do it to. I would say as well, score to Fried Green Tomatoes. I mentioned that movie before. That's another one. It just rips your heart out. The orchestration, the arrangement, it just rips your heart out. So very good. The Forrest Gump soundtrack, musical score, those are just as good as the ones with lyrics, I would say, because it lets you fill in the thoughts and it just gives you pure vibrational sensation, which is just, I recommend those ones. Then we have Hackers that rounds out my teen years. One of those movies that if the people in it weren't in it, you probably wouldn't remember it, but because the people in it were in it, you remember it. Angelina Jolie, the hottest thing since Sunburn. Came out, I think, in 95. Stars, again, Johnny Lee Miller. He was hot back then. The two of them kind of have this ongoing will they or won't they romance. And they're all hackers and they have to like save the world ship. That soundtrack is off the chain. It is one of the first times that I really dove into digital music. I had kind of had smatterings of it before, commercial versions. I didn't ever really jump into electronica, deep house music, or anything like that until the Hackers soundtrack. So good in that movie. Check it out if you haven't. It's worth a watch. It's craptacular at parts, but the other parts that aren't make up for it. Fast forward to nowadays, the ones in recent years, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I absolutely love Edgar Wright. Mentioned that before. His movies always have amazing soundtracks. He's kind of like Quentin Tarantino. Not a big Tarantino fan. Just know how to compile some music for a soundtrack. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I believe it was 2011. Michael Cera. There's tons of people. America's Ass before he was Captain America, Chris Evans, Aubrey Plaza, Kieran Culkin, Jason Schwartzman. I know it's very divided. Some people love it. Some people absolutely hate it. I love that movie. It's hard to transfer over from a graphic novel and get the same vibe, but I think he did a great job. And all the music that's performed by Sex Bomb is performed by a band called Plumtree, which I don't know if you guys knew that. And actually, in one scene, Scott is seen wearing the Plumtree shirt, which is really cool. And it was the first time I saw Beck in a while because he sings the Ramona song. Fun trivia. Crazy Stupid Love. Mid-2000s, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Steve Carell, Julianne Moore. A song called Blood by the Middle East. That song will rip your heart out of your chest. That song was about the lead singer of the band's sister passing away from cancer. It's one you just put on and cry, or you feel grateful for, you know, things around you when you listen to it. An appreciation song for sure. The Rushmore soundtrack. Wes Anderson, he's another one, really knows how to put together a soundtrack. And Rushmore was the first one that I realized what an artist he is. A lot of really good 60s, 70s music on there. Rushmore stars Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray. I recommend the movie and I recommend the soundtrack. Below Her Mouth, which is one of my favorite LGBTQIA+ movies. Particularly, I found the band Odessa. I devoured everything I could find from Odessa. Their albums are like the soundtrack to that time in my life because I listened to them so much. Beautiful, but also fun. It's like good beach music. So that's my list. Those are the ones, like I said, that really changed my life, that really imprinted, really squeezed down into my soul. It's such a deep and personal thing that if you share that information, sometimes it feels like you're not in a safe space anymore because you show parts of your soul. Oh my god, I forgot about the Mad Love soundtrack. This one goes into the teenage years, but Mad Love stars Drew Barrymore and Chris O'Donnell. Back when he was a thing. That one introduced me to 7 Year Bitch. It's kind of like somewhere between hardcore and punk. It's complaint rock, I guess. Love 7 Year Bitch. Before that, I never really heard women rocking out that hard, so I'm glad I remembered. That one was important because it got me in touch with my rage. Those musical moments in my life really helped me heal. They really helped me manage pain that wasn't happening in my life. They helped me remember the joy. They helped open up my sensitivities when I needed to. That's big. That's important. Nowadays, I don't have soundtracks as much, but I do have playlists. And as a bonus, a couple of the artists that I found lately that I absolutely love that are on repeat again are Andrew Kamen, up and coming indie artist. The song Maybe Something Cool Will Happen, and the song Honey. Highly recommend those. And then there's an artist called Lael Neal. She's really, I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. Lael Neal. The song Hotline is just pure like 50s girl group throwback modern twist. Very good, very melancholy with sunshine on it, if that makes sense. My whole drag series, I said it before, but Alaska Thunderfuck, all of her music it's original music. I'm sure she had help producing it and things like that, but if you enjoy fun, humorous music that's also entertaining, it's not just zone out to it, then you will enjoy Alaska Thunderfuck. I heard someone on a show called Hey Queen, which they talk about, you know, drag race and drag queens and stuff, and he said that she brought back the bitch track, which was something in the early 90s that queens would do. I think he's right. I think she perfected it. Constantly on repeat. Every time I listen to her songs, her music, I am instantly just right back in a good place, happy place. I'm in the process of memorizing all of them so that I can just good stuff. Last but not least, I would like to give a shout out to the Jock Jam series and the MTV Party to Go series. Those were a big part of my life too. That was on the more commercial side. Really popular songs, but they would blend them together so it was like a party, right? You know, party to go. Those I listened to a lot. I had all of them. I had every single one of them. The earlier ones I had to kind of go scrounge for, but I found them. Back before I knew what real house music was. Not that it's not house music, but it's commercialized house music, which is different. It's meant to be played on the radio or in a video. It's not meant to be danced to in a club. But those helped me find my real DJs, my real shit. So I could go on forever. I might do a part 2 sometime. Those are my thoughts. Those are my soundtracks that changed my life. I hope you guys are doing well. As sane, healthy, happy as possible in these crazy times. I know every day there's more, just one more Jenga of crazy that gets added. Just hang in there. Deep breath. We're headed into eclipse season. That's always intense, but it yields good things. So hang in there. We're gonna be all right. Thank you for joining me today. Like, subscribe, share if you're feeling it. Hit the notificationer, that little bell, ding ding. He will let you know when I post new ones. And I will... I just choked on my own. Anyway, thank you guys for being here, and I will speak to you soon. Have a wonderful week.